Hey there, Bills fans, fans of the game of football and quarterbacking, being a leader. We're here, Blue Mafia. It's week 15. I appreciate anybody out there listening. Drop a line. Let me know where you're from. I see you in the Google Analytics. I can see where you're from. I know where you're listening. So, what do we got this week? Bills, Panthers. We'll break it down, as always. We'll give you a little bit of my take, a little bit of observation, and some facts, figures. Not a lot of numbers, not a lot of analytics. You can go get that elsewhere. I'm going to give you just the cold hard truth, the old purist football watcher, spectator, athlete, has been, journalist, blogger. We're all in this together, and I started this blog back way before Josh Allen. It was during the Tyrod era. I was a big believer in the early Josh Allen era, as many people had given up hope. I'm a fan, visitor of the stadium many times. I'm a purist. I'm going to keep it real. That's why I do this. Try to demonstrate that everybody has their opinion, but collectively, enough opinions form the truth. So I put it on the record. I started recording. I love to write. I love football. So anybody out there listening, I hope maybe it inspires you to start your own channel, start your own podcast or blog. Start reporting what you feel is the news. That's why I do it, just to set a good example. So, obviously, as you know, you're hearing on NFL Network and ESPN and all these other MSM mainstream media sources that there's a lot of implications. Heard that before. You know what we do here. The implications, part 2. And in addition to the implications, we're going to give you the hot 3. Reggie's hot 3. Reg is my backwards Jers nickname. Former party nickname, retired. No more partying for Jers, just podcasting. So, the hot 3 we're going to do in the second part, after the weekly top 5 quarterback implications, we're going to give you the hot 3 in the AFC, NFC, the hot 3 that I don't think anybody would want to play in the playoffs. So let's get right to it. Bills, Panthers. What do we think? What do you guys think? Let me know. Drop me a line. If you want to write an article, I've got a website for you, BLEUMAFIA.com. I'll give you a little final edit, little final Jeej, and then we'll post it. If you want to get your name on something out there, let me know. We'll get it up. Blue Mafia. Bills lovers everywhere united. PJ Walker, shout out. Legend in my eyes. Guy has played for like 97 teams. Stint here, stint there. I wish that they would give him the keys. Give him the keys to the castle. Give him the keys to the ride. I was sort of a fan of them bringing Cam Newton in. But in a game like this versus the Bills in Buffalo, just give the kid the keys to the car. Give the kid the keys to the car. He's not even a kid. He's a man. He's a veteran. I don't mean to disrespect him by calling him a kid. I really mean to give him a nod. He deserves to be knighted. I think guys like that, journeyman, especially journeyman quarterbacks, I think there should be a longevity award of some nature, no matter what position you play. If you play for at least X amount of years, spend enough time with X amount of organizations over time, that you get this award. That'd be pretty cool. But PJ Walker, I hope that he gets the keys, because I don't really feel like watching Cam Newton. I'm a little bit sick of him. But it'll be fun to watch the Bills be able to get to him, and he is Cam Newton. So for a little while, he'll give you something. He'll give you something to shout about. But I think it'd be more fun if PJ Walker got the shot to take on Joshy Boy, who looked very outstanding last week. We'll talk a little bit about my vision for his future and why it's okay that he doesn't run as much as he did last week. But Chubba Hubbard, guy that was very talented coming out of college. He's a bruiser. He can run hard, and they are going to try to run the ball. And as we know, we're not the best at stopping the run. But this team is not exceptional. They're not exactly in the hunt, so to speak. There's not a lot of promise. Joe Brady, offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, would be an outstanding choice if and when offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills, Brian Daboll, were to depart. I think that the Bills and Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott should take a good, hard look at Joe Brady, former LSU wide receiver coach and offensive coordinator, national champion, was not exactly given the keys to take a long-term look in the NFL. Maybe he's going back to college, but I think he would fit in perfect with the young culture of the Buffalo Bills. But he is no longer in Carolina, so he will not be a member of the sidelines tomorrow. But Matt Rule and the Panthers, they have something cooking for the future, but it's a little bit hollow. Our buddy Stephon Gilmore will be on the field to face the Bills. Let's just hope that Josh doesn't throw one to Gilmore. But Gilmore, big guy, athlete, he could make a play. He's a pretty good athlete. Now that he's not on the Patriots anymore, I can't say that I have the same disdain for Gilly Locke. But he was overrated in Buffalo, got beat a lot, gave up a lot. We'll see if he gives up as a member of the Panthers, as he did many times on the member of an undermanned Bills squad. Gabriel Davis, the public has finally realized, is undervalued. I hope to see his role continue to increase. You know, if you listen to my podcast or read my blog, that I'm a huge fan, have always been a huge fan, and have felt since the opening day that he should be in the number 2 slot and or X or Z, one or the other, on the opposite of Stephon Diggs, with Emmanuel being more of a third down threat, one-on-one threat here and there, but really looking for Gabe Davis to continue to prove himself, which I know he will if given the opportunity. I mean, what an outstanding play on fourth down. If you go check out some of his press conference work this week, I said he just sounds like a superstar. He says the right things. He's so young, and he's just the guy that you would want to keep around in the franchise, in the locker room for years and years, because he'll set a good precedent, and he catches the freaking rock, and he gets upfield, and he can block. He's a big dude. We hope to see him and Beasley continue to be on the field at the same time because, as you know, as I put it, they play the band becomes more unique because of the uniquity of Beasley's small stature, quick route running, and Gabe Davis's large stature, quick route running. You can't guard both with personnel. You got to choose one or the other. And with that, you're going to have to take your poison because then you still have Diggs over the top and to have Knox out there up the seam and those two underneath. I mean, you can do pretty much anything with those guys healthy and out there and in unison. And finally, we'll see what happens to a quarterback that gets run a little bit too much over the course of his career. And Cam Newton, guy that's faced several injuries. He did get in a car accident at one point, if you remember. But Cam Newton, a guy that's hurt his passing shoulder a few times, struggles to find receivers downfield if his deep ball, his seam ball, or the quick short, one and done read is not there. He's never really developed as a passer. And a lot of people here in Buffalo feel that Brian Daboll should be running Josh Allen more and more designed runs. And I've never been a huge fan of that because he is a human being and his body will break down. And we will get to see what happens when a guy big and strong gets continuously pounded by NFL players over a few years in Cam Newton. So just one thing to think about, Big Ben, piece of shit off the field. I don't like him necessarily, but he is a warrior on the field. And if you look at his career, he's managed to avoid contact too much, if you ask me. But if you were to compare two ends of the spectrum with Cam Newton at one end and Big Ben at the other, both big, strong guys, similar stature, guys that the team gets behind, pretty decent personalities, but I see Josh Allen having aspects of both of those guys as a player, and you'd like to see his career last as long as a Big Ben versus the quick upward trajectory and drop off of Cam Newton statistically and victoriously. Big Ben, 2-time Super Bowl champion. But overall, I don't think it's limited to only those two. I've said long ago that he has aspects of Brady, Big Ben, Aaron Rodgers, and Cam Newton because he can run like Cam Newton. He can whip the ball like Aaron Rodgers. He can stand up straight in the pocket like Brady, which he needs to do more of. And he can also get around and make weird plays like Big Ben. But he throws much better on the run than Big Ben. There's really nobody else that does it like him. I'd like to see Josh throw to the left a little bit better. He has trouble getting his hips around. But he's a big-ass dude, and he's moving very fast. I think the Bills will win this game pretty handily. The Panthers just don't have enough. I think the Bills will, as they have all year, play tough against an inferior team. You like to see them finish against a superior or equal team once. Hopefully that's next week versus the Patriots. Can't look beyond them, but they got to be thinking about them. We'll take a quick break here, and then we'll be back with the implications and the Hot 3. So we'll see you in a sec. Hey, y'all. We're back. It's the NFL implications. The top 5 quarterback matchups of the week with big implications. Brought to you by Dennis Rhymes. We also have the Hot 3 right after that. AFC, NFC, Reggie's Hot 3. The teams that you really don't want to play in the playoffs, as the implications have reached the hot zone. So number 5 on the NFL implications top 5 quarterback matchups of the week. Big Ben taking on Ryan Tannehill. Couple of old grizzled vets. Pieces of meat hanging out for the D-line. You know this Titans team wants to take the boots to Big Ben. This one's going to get bully ball ugly. It's going to be grisly. Grizzled quarterbacks playing a lot of defense, a lot of hitting, a lot of jawing, a lot of headbutting. Steelers are still slightly in the hunt. And the Titans obviously are just trying to limp into the playoffs with Derrick Henry possibly returning, King Henry. Not rooting personally for either of these teams, but it does have AFC playoff implications. Number 2, tonight, the only Saturday remaining teams. And as we know, there's been several games. We're recording Saturday here in the home studio in Elmwood Village, home studio, 1-bedroom apartment. But many games have been postponed, so it's a little difficult to find these 5. But when you really boil it all down, there's always implications when about 20 of the teams are in the hunt right now. So number 2, we have tonight's only remaining Saturday game in the slots. New England's Mac Jones, after his incredible performance in Buffalo, heading to it used to be called the RCA Dome, but heading to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, where the Patriots and the Colts have a storied past, which you'll hear all about as the NFL continues to barf the legacy of the league in your face. One thing about football is it's hard to fake. And this game, it's set up nicely. It's got a storied past, but it's got legitimate playoff implications in the AFC. As a Bills fan, you kind of have to root for the Colts. Patriots not in the number 1 slot, I don't believe right now, but if they win, I do believe they would be in it. I think the Chiefs have that number 1 spot by technicality right now with their win over the Chargers, which was sort of one of those games that they need to start a hot run. Maybe they'll make the hot 3. Hot 3, hot 3, hot route. Carson Wentz, where are you at? Are you ready to get a frickin' ring or what? Do you want a ring, or do you just want to walk around in the duck bill boots with former Bill Frank Reich and be saving souls? Speaking of saving souls, I got this a couple years ago from Santa. Seeing red, the Bills will be this weekend. Shout out Mario Williams, Seeing Red, back in the Rod era. Rod Seeing Red. Never forget Tyrod. Number 3, Cincy's Joey Bags Burrow. Where are you at, Carson Wentz? Are you going to show up and get a ring or go home and hunt? Number 3, Joey Bags Burrow, once again, making it again. Never thought I'd like this kid this much, but he's impressive. Another one in the AFC. Implications. If the Bills somehow lose to the Panthers, we're going to be in trouble. But Denver somehow still in the hunt with Teddy Bridgie also limping in. They've got a nice running game going. I think they have some injuries, but as we know, keep an eye on that one on your red zones, because that one will impact probably if the Bengals are able to win that conference and secure a nice seed, because on the next, pardon me for the technical difficulty, we are back here. Number 3 of the top quarterback matchups of the week. Packers taking on mystery man Brett Hundley. A-Rod getting hot, trying to make a run, going to Baltimore, where the Harbaugh brother John will have Brett Hundley, the mystery man. Who will take that? Because the AFC North, as we know, is up for grabs. A lot of weirdness going on. Don't even know who's going to play quarterback. It looks like Nick Mullins for the Browns. We have Big Ben for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bags Burrow for the Bengals. It's getting weird. Brett Hundley now for the Ravens. So number 5, a weirdy one. A weirdy. Shanahan versus Atlanta. His former home. His former Q. Couple of old white stiff throwback quarterbacks getting down and dirty. The 49ers have a much better thing going, but Cordell Patterson, one of the best things going in the NFL. Awesome story. Can Matty Ice step it up and at least limp into the playoffs? I find it funny that Bill Simmons and Cousin Sale are constantly talking about how they're not going to bet on them again, but they do. And I continue to watch the show, too. I continue to watch the Matt Ryan show, even though it's terrible. Jimmy G, he's got a decent thing going. I hope that I turned a corner on Jimmy G. I used to not like him, and now I root for him. It's odd. So now, without further ado, the hot 3. Quickly, before we run out of battery. Got to get that second battery. Send me. You can tip us on the Cash App if you want to support the podcast. Leave us a tip, and we'll get a second battery. In the AFC, coming in at number 3 in the hot 3, I have the Colts. I wouldn't want to play them. We saw what they did to the Bills. We've seen Jonathan Taylor run over multiple teams. I wouldn't want to go there. I wouldn't want to play on their carpet. And I wouldn't want them to come to my house. They've got a running game. They've got a mean offensive line and a mean defensive line. Number 2, as much as I hate to say it, I wouldn't want to play Matt Judon and the Patriots. Matt Judon, I feel, is one of the top 3 most dominant players in the league. And he's a problem. Number 1, I would not want to play the Chiefs. We saw what they can do this Thursday. I fell asleep because I lost my fantasy last week by 0.68, so I couldn't watch Herbert as I was playing against him in one league and should have been in the playoffs with him in one other league. But we saw what they can do. They're still sick. Kelsey's still sick. Hill's still sick. And as much as Jackson Mahomes is not sick, Patrick is. And they're the number 1 hot team I wouldn't want to play in the AFC. And in the NFC, number 3, I have the Rams. They're getting it going at the right time. Odell Beckham is a nice little treat for Matt Stafford, who has exceeded my expectations. They're good on defense. It's tough to not be good on defense when you have Aaron Donald and Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey. But they're a tough team, and I would not want to play them. Obviously, number 2, I would not want to play the Bucks. That's pretty self-explanatory. Self-explanatory. I would not want to play them, and I also, at number 1, would not want to play Aaron Rodgers. Those are probably my top 6 hot teams right now. I could see that coming down to the final wire. So thanks for listening. Let me know what you think of the show. Let's hop on a Zoom. Send me a blog. We'll get it up. We'll get your name on it. Go Bills.